The metal gates slid open with a dry scream that echoed through the empty morning, and in that sound, Kieran Holt felt 10 years of his life finally release their grip. Sunlight spilled across the concrete yard, sharp and unforgiving, and for a moment he had to shield his eyes like a man waking from a long, punishing sleep. He walked out with a thin paper bag holding everything he owned, shoulders tense, heart pounding not with freedom, but with fear. 10 years ago, he had left this place in handcuffs, as a broken man accused, convicted, and erased. Today he was free, but the world he was returning to no longer belonged to him, and the house that once held his entire life waited at the end of the road like a question he was terrified to answer. Before the story pulls you any deeper, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of doing right, even when the world turns its back on you, take a moment to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel Kindness Spark. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Kieran had been a single father before the prison walls swallowed him whole. He had been the kind of man who packed lunches at dawn, who worked construction until his hands cracked, who read bedtime stories even when his eyes burned from exhaustion. His son Milo had been 6 years old when everything fell apart. One wrong place, one wrong accusation, and a crime committed by another man had been laid at Kieran's feet. Evidence had been thin, legal help thinner, and the system moved fast when it decided someone like him was expendable. By the time the truth surfaced years later, Milo had grown up without him, and Kieran had aged a lifetime in a cell that smelled of rust and regret. The bus ride back to his old neighborhood felt unreal, like watching someone else's memories through a dirty window. Streets looked smaller, houses closer together, and familiar landmarks had either vanished or changed beyond recognition. The city had grown upward while his life had been buried underground. As the bus slowed near his stop, his chest tightened. He hadn't told anyone he was coming. He didn't know who, if anyone, still cared. He stepped off into the daylight, the bag cutting into his palm, and began the walk toward the house he used to call home. It stood at the end of a quiet street, washed in late morning sun, its pale siding freshly painted, the front yard trimmed and blooming with flowers he had never planted. Kieran stopped halfway down the sidewalk, confusion creeping into his thoughts. The house looked loved. When he'd been taken away, it had been worn and tired, just like him. He had expected abandonment, maybe boarded windows or a foreclosure sign. Instead, there were wind chimes on the porch and children's shoes neatly lined near the door. His heart thudded painfully as he climbed the steps, every sound amplified, every breath shallow. The door was unlocked. That alone made his knees weak. Slowly, cautiously, he pushed it open, bracing himself for emptiness or strangers who would shout and call the police. What he found instead stole the air from his lungs. The house was full. Sunlight poured through clean windows onto polished floors. The walls were covered in family photos, but not the ones he remembered. New faces stared back at him, smiling, alive. There was laughter somewhere inside, the sound of dishes clinking, the low hum of a life in motion. Kieran stood frozen in the doorway, a ghost in his own home, unsure if he should step forward or turn and disappear. Fear battled hope inside him as he moved deeper into the house. Every room carried echoes of his past layered with someone else's present. His old armchair was gone, replaced by a bright couch. The kitchen smelled of fresh bread. Then, as he reached the hallway, he saw a familiar shape reflected in a mirror at the far end. A tall teenage boy stood there, sunlight catching his hair, his posture confident yet tense. The boy turned, and Kieran's heart shattered and reassembled all at once. It was Milo. Older, taller, his childhood softness sharpened by years, but unmistakably his son. Time seemed to slow. Milo looked at him with wide, uncertain eyes, recognition dawning not with joy but shock. 10 years had passed. 10 years of birthdays missed, school plays unattended, scraped knees unkissed. Kieran felt the weight of every absence pressed down on him. He wanted to run forward, to fall to his knees, to explain everything, but the fear of rejection rooted him in place. He had dreamed of this moment in a cell no bigger than a closet, but dreams never prepared him for the reality of standing before the son who had grown up without him. The rest of the household soon noticed the silence. Footsteps approached, and a woman appeared beside Milo, her expression shifting from confusion to guarded alertness. She was calm, strong-looking, someone who had learned to protect what was hers. This was Rowan Pierce, the woman who had moved into the house years after Kieran's arrest. She had been a volunteer mentor at Milo's school, someone who noticed a lonely child carrying too much weight. When the state threatened to move Milo into foster care permanently, Rowan had fought for him. She hadn't replaced Kieran. She had simply stepped into the space where love was desperately needed. The tension in the room was thick, but daylight softened its edges. No one shouted. No one ran. Instead, there was a fragile stillness, the kind that forms when lives collide unexpectedly. Kieran learned, piece by piece, how Rowan had kept the house, how she had preserved Milo's memories of his father without letting bitterness poison them.